Hey everyone, I'm Tejas, YouTuber, conference speaker, all the kinds of things, and just really enjoy code and people and encouraging people and doing my best work. So happy to.
Man, you're
happy to be
you're
here.
you're one of the few individuals that literally you could get up and just talk about nothing, and I'd just be fascinated because I everything you say is just absolute gold. So I want to start by obviously talking about DevRel, and what it is, right? So I want to see if you can give kind of a 30,000 foot view. If my 60-year-old mother came to you and goes, "What the heck is DevRel?" How would you describe it? Describe it. Describe it. Describe it.
What's up? So I wanted to talk to you about DevRel today. That is developer relations, and I want to talk about what it really is because I've worked in DevRel for quite a while, and some people say things about me that I know a thing or two about DevRel. So I figured let me do a video to talk about what DevRel actually is, and the reason for that is because DevRel is newish and youngish to the point where different people think it's different things, and that is like implicit. The differences that different people feel that DevRel is implicit between different people, and then like they create conflicts between them, and expectations aren't met, and it's a whole thing. So what I want to do in our time together is talk about what I think, what I see that DevRel actually is. And if you disagree with me, you're welcome to. Let's talk in the comments. But with that, let's get into it. Number one, it is about developer relations. Yes. If you think that's profound, subscribe. No, but it's about relationships with developers. And I feel like that needs to be heard and cemented and like absorbed and believed. It is about developer relationships. Say it with me. It's about it's about relationships with developers. Okay. And with that, what does that tell you? That tells you it is not about sales. It is not about marketing. It is not about promoting and demoing your product so people will adopt it. No, no, it's about, say it with me, developer relationships. Okay. It's about investing in developers. It's about talking to developers. It's about, hey, listen, I need to understand you. I want to understand you. I want to know you. Who are you? How do you like building software? What do you think about databases if you work for Zeta or Supabase? And you want to do DevRel for them? Is really just knowing people, is listening to people. I think Dan Abramov from the React team does a great job of this. And I would say he's actually DevRel without being officially DevRel, because he will listen to what you think about server components, and that's it. There's no like, let me demo this so I can manipulate you almost into using React. Let me sell you this. Let me market. No, no, no. It's about the relationship. Another way of saying this is it is DevRel and not DevSell. It is DevRel and not DevSell. Okay, and so I've had experiences in DevRel roles where a manager, a superior of mine, comes to me and says, "Hey, your DevRel team is not bringing any money, and we're not doing so much sales. What's with that?" And I say, why don't we hire more salespeople? I don't, because DevRel is about relationships, and I need us to understand, believe, internalize. DevRel is about developer relationships, and so if sales numbers aren't going up from DevRel work, hire a sales team. That's what they're for. If market branding messaging isn't what you want it to be, hire a marketing team. And DevRel can work with them, sharing the data from the relationships because they deeply know and understand their developers to help the other orgs. That to me is the role of DevRel, is to know and love and serve and understand developers, and then take that knowledge and understanding, all the data from these high quality relationships, and use it internally to fuel and motivate and teach almost and influence other organizations towards the benefit of developers. Okay, that's what I think it is. So it's not sales, it's that. Number two, DevRel is high risk, high reward. DevRel is high risk, high reward. So I went on Twitter sometime and I said DevRel and angel investing are kind of the same thing. And people were like, "What? What are you talking about?" I know. Sometimes I look at my own tweets and I'm like, "What am I talking about?" But this one, I was kind of making the case that both of them are high risk, high reward. For example, with angel investing, everyone and their mother will tell you that it has to be money that you're willing to just lose. money that you're willing to throw away and never see again, because angel investments are highly, highly, highly risky, and there's a good chance you'll never see that money again. Empirical evidence shows, I'll put links under the like button, that like 9 out of 10 startups will fail, right? So they're high risk, but that one company that you give away money to, that maybe, possibly, hypothetically, accidentally, theoretically becomes a unicorn, ooh, your small angel check of $10,000 is now $10 million. What's up? Right? So it's high risk, high reward. Maybe it's not going to work. Maybe it is. And I think DevRel is similar. And this is where I think the tension is between business people and great DevRel work, because business people will want to like measure DevRel. What is the measured impact of DevRel? Where's the money from DevRel? Is it signups? Is it email addresses? There's always this attempt to measure something because it gives us a sense of control. When in reality, my take is that great DevRel work is hard, if not impossible, to measure, because human relationships are hard, if not impossible, to measure. For good relationships and bad, right? Like I have a great relationship with my family, but how do I measure that? I have a bad relationship with racists. How do I measure? It's just hard because it's inherently complex, but it is high risk, high reward. So a company will spend money on DevRel stuff. You'll sponsor a conference, you'll go give someone swag, you'll speak at a conference, whatever, paying money that you may not see a return on because it's hard to predict. But if you do what this happened, I think at Spotify for Backstage, right? You do a talk at a conference, and somewhere people see, oh my gosh, this thing is valuable. Suddenly, there's someone very influential in the crowd, and they see it, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And next thing you know, Kent C. Dodds is telling the world how your thing is the best thing, and now everybody's like, oh my gosh, take my money. And so it has converted. And that process has added measurable impact, but nobody could predict that. That could take years. That could take 10 years. High risk, high reward, but maybe you'll never see that money again. That's what I see DevRel as. I think the big mistake is trying to treat DevRel like marketing. How does the funnel convert? That's marketing. Or trying to use DevRel to push adoption, like go do a talk at a conference and tell everyone to, from the stage where people pay money to come learn stuff from the stage, instead do a sales pitch. That's sales, hire salespeople. DevRel is about developer relationships. Hopefully you completed my sentence and we're good. Number three, DevRel is not for everyone. It is not for every company, because different companies, the role of a developer, the persona of a developer plays a different role to different companies. I feel like this is obvious, and I really don't need to drive that point home. Um, for example, Apple does WWDC, Worldwide Developer Conference, because a lot of Apple's apps, their ecosystem comes from developers. They're quite important to Apple, but they are not the most important. They're not as important to Apple as they are to GitHub, whose entire user is more or less a developer, right? Developers have a bigger importance to GitHub from a business perspective than they do Apple, because Apple makes consumer electronics as well. Okay, some companies you'd think they don't need DevRel at all. Companies like Vodafone, but guess what? Vodafone has a DevRel team. You might be thinking, why? They don't make databases or APIs for developers to use. Yeah, but they have a DevRel team so that they have great relationships with developers, so then they can hire easier, among other things. So it's not for everyone. The role of a developer and the relationship with this role from a company um, to the developer should be the basis for, do we need DevRel or not? And if we do need DevRel, how comfortable we are making high risk investments in developer communities that we may not ever see again, but the relationships will be high quality and might pay off in large. So those are my thoughts. In my opinion, this is what DevRel actually is. You know what? That was three. Let's do a bonus. I feel inspired. I think DevRel is not exclusively like speaking or blog posts or content in general. I think DevRel is not just content and evangelism, but DevRel, say it with me, DevRel is about developer relationships. So the underguiding current is what is going to create cultivate and lead this relationship with developers to flourish and be excellent. That's what DevRel is about. And sometimes it may mean I'm going to do an educational talk to teach developers about how React's fiber reconciler works, so then they'll understand and create different apps or whatever. Yes, that is education with the purpose of what? With the purpose of helping people grow through good relationships. So that could be a talk. It could be a blog post. It could be I'm going to go on a podcast and tell people about Remix because I think it would help them, right? But the goal is helping through relationship and not really selling. So content is a big part of it because content facilitates great relationships. But I want to leave you with this question about DevRel. Now that if hopefully we're on the same page, what else cultivates great relationships with developers besides content? What other thoughts do you have in general? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Leave a comment below or at me on Twitter. But for now, that's been it. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.